السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. So tonight is the first night of Kitab al-Salat, the book of prayer from the book Zad al-Mustaqni', which is, the book is translated, but the old copy, they said they stopped printing. It was a real thick one. They said they stopped printing it, and they had the book of prayer in it. So the one that they have available now only has the chapter in the beginning of the book, Tahara, wudu, ghusl, and stuff like that. If you can find it, if you can find the whole book or the bigger print, then it has the text that we're going to be going over, inshallah. It says the book of prayer, which is really a section. This is a section of the book on the salat, and this is from the longer sections of the book, the chapter about the salat. And in this section, it discusses the different types of prayer, the different types of prayers we have, Jummah, their Eid, recommended prayers, the rain prayer, the eclipse prayer, right? All of the different, anything connected to the salat is in this chapter. The book that we're using is a summarized book of fiqh, right? Which means that this is like the second level. It's a little more advanced than the book that we usually use for these type of classes of wudu and stuff like that, but it's still considered to be a summarized book. Now, it's important to understand how this book is written. The ulama wrote books, and they write books with a specific intent behind why it's written the way it's written. Meaning, when we read through this, it doesn't mention the hadith and the ayat connected to every issue. It's not going to mention the hadith and the ayat connected to every issue, and it's written like that intentionally. Not that it's not a dalil for the issues that we're talking about, but the books are not written like that. Books of fiqh are not written like that in general. So how are they written? The beginner level books are written as if, I like to use the example, the same way when somebody takes shahada, somebody come in and take shahada right now, they're going to pray maghrib with us. When it's time for maghrib, somebody's going to take the person back to make wudu, whether it's a man or if it's a brother or a sister. You're going to take her back to the bathroom, and you're going to tell her what to do. Say Bismillah. All right, wash your right hand. You might even show them, right? Up to your, all right, put it in your mouth. You're going to tell them what to do. You're not going to read, you're not going to open up Sahih Bukhari, right? And start reading off the hadith of the chapter on wudu. You're not going to give them all the dalil. But what you're telling them how to make wudu is dalil for it, right? But you're just not giving it to them. And that's how these books are written, these beginner books. So the fact that they're not mentioning hadith for each issue doesn't mean it's no proof for it. What is mentioned here a lot of times is the reason they said that. And the reason will go back to a dalil. But it's written like that intentionally so that nobody thinks that it's just a random book and they just mentioning things with no dalil. It's written like that on purpose. If we were to read the book with the dalil, the explanation of the book, the main, I won't say the main, but the section we're going to read, right, is about 50 pages, 50 detailed pages. If we were to go to the main explanation, which is not the longest explanation, just the main explanation, it will be like 120 pages of detail. I'm talking about detail. This is not this class, and this is not like a reminder. It's not like Jummah. It's going to be a lot of principles. You got to think. Wording is very, very, very important. Wording. A lot of times we mix up things because we assume everything is the same. But the wording will change what it says on this paper. The wording will change the ruling. All right, the wording will change the ruling in Islam. One word can change the whole ruling. I don't know how many people. I don't know how many sisters over there either, but I'm gonna just break these in half. Try to. And just this for the sisters, this one. Tayyib. The importance, this is the salat. So we're talking about the second pillar of Islam. And before I forget, what we're doing is connected to the mechanics, the picture, the surah, what it looks like when you pray, how to move, right? This is not necessarily connected to your heart being involved in the prayer. You with me? I would advise everybody to listen to Sheikh Tahir's class that he did. It's called The Inner Dimensions of the Prayer. There's a whole playlist on YouTube that connects your heart involved in the prayer. This is more the mechanics, okay? Both are important, but you can't do one without the other. You need both of them. That's my advice. I would advise you go through the playlist. They sell the book on 52nd Street and go through each class. Super benefit. Super. Tayyib. Being as though this is a book of fiqh, does everybody know what fiqh is? Or let me add the wrong question. Who doesn't know what fiqh is? One person? So everybody else knows what fiqh is. 2, 3. Everybody else knows 4. There's a lot of brothers in here. Only 4 brothers, 5. Like, so everybody else knows what fiqh is, right? For the brothers. So who's going to explain to the brothers who don't know what fiqh is? Everybody don't talk at once. If y'all know what fiqh is, and there's brothers who don't know what fiqh is, maybe sisters, how nobody's going to explain to your brother what fiqh is? It's important, y'all. Fiqh is a branch, a science of Islam that has to do with our actions. Everything that we do, if you look at this page, you look at this paper, it's 5 numbers on this paper, right? Everything that we do, from waking up to going to sleep throughout our day, is connected to one of these 5. Okay? One of these 5, which is words we hear all the time: obligatory, wajib, haram. That's haram. A lot of times we say, you can't be doing that. You can't do that. We're supposed to do this. We have to do this, right? Islamically, it's called the ahkam, the ruling. What is the ruling on it? If I say, what's the ruling on something? You're going to refer to one of these 5. Is it obligatory to do it? Is it sunnah? Is it recommended to do it? Is it haram? It's impermissible. We're not allowed to do it at all. Is it disliked to do it? Or is it allowed? One of these 5. Everybody make sure you got one of these, because you're going to have to refer back and forth to these. Inshallah, when we go through this, you're going to see how important wording is. You need some? There's some more right here. You're going to see how important wording is, and when we speak about deen and the different aspects of the salat. I'm not going to go through all of these, the 5 rulings on the paper, but they're there. Well, we have to know this. When we say something, for example, is haram, what does haram mean? Good. Haram means, is translated to mean impermissible. That's the translation of the word haram. But what does it mean in Islam as a Muslim? If something is haram, the definition you see on this paper, that's what it equals in our life. Not just the translation, you can't be doing that. Not just the translation, what does it say here? Prohibited. Yeah, it's prohibited. It's prohibited, it's impermissible, but haram is all of what we see here. That definition is what it equals when we say something is haram. If you're not prepared to say that about whatever we're talking about, then you got to be very careful when you say something is haram or something is obligatory. It's more than just the translation of the word. Obligatory or wajib, obligatory. It's more than that. It carries more. That's the definition of the word. So we're going to need this. Tayyib. Again, the way the book is written is very direct. You got to understand the text as the author wrote the book. And then as we go along, inshallah, we'll see how you make exceptions. And please, y'all, what we can't do, right now we're starting a chapter. We're not going to jump the day in questions all the way to the book of Jumu'ah, Kitab al-Jumu'ah. Try to keep it where we are, because if you do that, it's going to be confusing. All right? Everybody with me? Being as though this is a book of fiqh, this is not connected to, these issues are not connected to aqeedah. This is not a book of aqeedah, what the Muslims believe. This is a book of fiqh connected to how our actions, not our hearts. Everybody clear? Meaning, on top of that, what we go through here does not mean this is the only way to pray. If a person doesn't pray like we learned from this book, then they're not praying correctly. That's wrong. Not true. But what we're learning is one way. This is one way. Okay? Everybody with me? So if you go somewhere, you see other people doing things, and when those issues come up of khilaf, difference of opinion, those major issues of differences, inshallah, we'll stop at them and discuss them a little bit. But this is also not a book of, we're going to bring all the differences of the scholars and go through them. This is not that. That's not how the ulama teach at this level. You learn the basic what's in front of you. Once you master this, not just this section, once you master this book, once you master this level book, then you can move to the next level book. You with me? The next level book, it'll be a little more different mention. Yeah, but some say this, some say that. This is the little for this, a little bit. Once you go above that, then everything opens up. If not, we'll be like the person who we overburden as a new Muslim with too much information at one time, instead of giving them what's most important, but we give them everything at once, and then there's overburdening a person. That can happen to us in these type of books. So the ulama, the scholars of Islam, they lined it up and they laid it out very, very precisely for a reason. I meant to bring the other books, but I was looking for something else because I wanted y'all to see if we were to go through how most of us want to go through stuff, even though we don't know what we're doing. Even though we don't know what we're doing, we want to do it the way we think it should be done, right? If I were to bring the books out and show you, most of us wouldn't make it through. Just like the normally, a class, as many people are here today, most people don't make it to the end of the 52 pages. 52 pages might equal 25 weeks, 25 to 30 weeks. Every Wednesday for 30 weeks, we do this. You with me? Most people don't make it all the way through. That's normal. That's normal for talib al-ilm. When it comes to seeking knowledge, that's normal. In the beginning, everybody's, right? And shwaya. A week or two go by, the numbers go down, numbers go down, right? That's just how it goes. All right. And if I were to show you the book that most of us probably want to read through, this is probably 8 volumes. We definitely ain't going to make it through that. So inshallah, if Allah give us the tawfiq, if we at least make it through the 52. These are not 52 little read pages, y'all. These are 52 detailed pages. طيب. قال المصنف رحمه الله. The author says here, كتاب الصلاة تجب على كل مسلم مكلف إلا حائضا ونفساء. This is the first issue. In the first chapter, it says the book of Salat. And they define what the prayer is. What is the Salat? Because the Salat has more than one meaning. Salat in Arabic has 2 meanings. The more important meaning, one of the meanings is just dua. When you make dua in general can be referred to as Salat in Arabic, right? But the Salat that we're talking about, and I'm only reading this so that we could see how serious and detailed the scholars of Islam get when it comes to issues, right? They define the prayer, the Salat, as statements, specific things that we say, and specific things that we do, beginning with the takbirah, Allahu Akbar, starting there, and ending with the taslim. Specific statements, specific actions. The salat is comprised of things we say in the salat and some things we do in the salat. You don't say whatever you want to say, and you don't do whatever you want to do. We say specific things, and we move in specific ways in the salat, right? When does the prayer begin? From the opening takbirah. From the start, the first Allahu Akbar, that's the start of the prayer. And the prayer ends at the taslim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Tayyib. The first thing he says, rahimahullah, is the salat is obligatory. And then he mentions the people who the salat is obligatory on. Now, this is my question to you. Based on the paper you have in front of you, right? Obligatory means what? G. If you don't do it, huh? If you don't do it, it's a sin and rewarded if done, and you deserve to be punished for not doing it. Everybody with me? Again, we say stuff like this. You gotta pray, man. You gotta make sure you pray. We say you can't do that. You gotta do this. You're supposed to do that. When it comes to these issues, the wording that we're using is off of here. Tajib, obligatory. Meaning it's something that Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded us to do without an option. You can't opt out of the 5 daily prayers. You don't have the option of praying 5 today, but tomorrow I'm gonna just pray 3. But I've been busy all day, so I'm gonna just bang out 2. But since I'm off on the weekends, I could pray all 5. Everybody with me? It's not an option like that. The 5 prayers are obligatory, meaning Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded us to do it without a choice, right? The person who performs the obligatory act out of obedience to Allah is rewarded. The one who performs the act out of obedience to Allah is rewarded, right? The person who doesn't do it is deserving of Allah's punishment. Everybody clear? That's what wajib, obligatory, equals in our lives as Muslims. Not just obligatory. No, you do it out of obedience to Allah, it's a reward for it, right? You don't do what's obligatory on it. We don't do what's obligatory on us. Number 1, it's a sin for disobeying Allah, Jalla wa Ala. Number 2, a person deserves to be punished by Allah for not doing what they are commanded to do. Everybody clear? Tayyib. You ready? The salat is obligatory on who? It says every Muslim, mukallaf. Use the word mukallaf, which includes a description of 2 people. Tayyib. We know the Muslim, right? Every Muslim, it's obligatory to pray the 5 prayers. The mukallaf is obligatory. What's the mukallaf? Anybody know the mukallaf? Mukallaf, this word comes a lot. Huh? It's two things involved in the word mukallaf. A person that reached puberty. A Muslim that reached puberty, it's obligatory to pray. And the third thing, they have their intellect, they're sane. It's obligatory to pray. Everybody clear? Shurutul wujub. The conditions for it to be obligatory on a person is 3 things. It's really 2, but it's broken down into 3. Number 1, they're Muslim. So if it's obligatory on a Muslim, who is it not obligatory on? It's not obligatory on a non-Muslim to pray. That doesn't mean that they won't be held accountable for not praying in the hereafter. That's a different conversation. Tayyib. Who else? The one that reached puberty. Meaning if your child didn't reach puberty, is it obligatory for them to pray? Meaning if they don't pray, they're sinning. And if they don't pray, they deserve to be punished by Allah? No. Should we still be teaching our children to pray? How we know that? The Prophet said, command them to pray at 7. We ain't gonna say beat, but we'll use that. We'll get to that, inshallah, right? And strike them at 10. Or we get to that, inshallah. Tayyib. Muslim, reach the age of puberty, right? So that means brothers, because sometimes, I don't know about the sisters, brothers. You come to the masjid, your son 3. You line them up in a row. I'm just saying. He's not going to stay there. All right? He's going to run off. You don't got to yank him, smack him in the back of the head. He's 3. If he's 5, you don't have to do that. If he's 6, you don't have to do that. If he's 7, you don't have to do that. All right? No, you're supposed to know better. You're supposed to know better. Command your children to pray at 7. We starting at 5, no problem. Command them to pray at 7. That obligation is on the parents, the wali, the father. Command them at 7. That's your obligation, not that they have to pray at 7. Everybody with me? When do they have to pray? Huh? Puberty. Puberty. Obligatory to pray at puberty. Everybody get it? Before that, everything up until puberty, we train in our children. We're training them. We don't wait. That doesn't mean wait until your daughter's 15. She ain't been covering, she ain't been praying and nothing. Now you're talking about that's not going to work. Right? But we're talking about how to deal with our children in the reality of their prayer, if it's obligatory on them or not. The third person, Muslim, reach the age of puberty, and they have their sanity. They didn't lose their sanity. They haven't gone, as we say, they haven't gone crazy. Not necessarily crazy, but they might be intellectually disabled. They Muslim, they reach the age of puberty, but they're intellectually disabled. Does that mean they can't pray? They can pray. But what does it mean? If a person is a Muslim, they reach the age of puberty, but they don't have their sanity, what does that mean? It's not obligatory on them to pray. Wording is very important. Everybody with me? It's not obligatory. We're not saying that your child is 7, our kids are 7 and 8, they can't pray. We're not saying that. We're saying, is it obligatory on them? No. Or if it's obligatory on them, we need to be delicate and careful how we're dealing with our children that are not praying. When we look at them, we feel like they should be praying by now. But what does Islam say? Right? If we leave it like that, the author, he excludes 2 people. It's 2 people who meet the requirements that don't have to pray. It's not obligatory for them to pray. Meaning it's 2 people. They're Muslim, they reach the age of puberty, and they have their sanity, but it's not obligatory on them to pray. Who are they? The woman on her menses and the woman who has postpartum, a nufasa. The woman on her menses, she's a Muslim, she's a Muslima, a Philly John, she's a Muslima. Right? She was a Muslima, right? A Muslima. She's a Muslima. A Muslima. She reached the age of puberty. She reached the age of puberty. She has her sanity, right? And we said those are the conditions for it to be obligatory for a person to pray. But the exception is the woman on her menses. It's not obligatory for a woman on her menses to pray. Or the woman who just had a baby, postpartum. Right? For that time of postpartum, it's not obligatory for her to pray. Everybody clear? Y'all with me? Tayyib. He says, وَيَقْضِي مَنْ زَالَ عَقْلُهُ بِنَوْمٍ أَوْ إِغْمَاءٍ أَوْ سُكْرٍ وَنَحْوِهِ. Now we're talking about making up the salat. What does it mean to make up the salat? Huh? Jay, I missed the salat, so now I got to make it up. Right? I missed it. What does missed it mean? Good. If Asr goes out at 8:30, that means the time for Maghrib started and I didn't pray Asr. That means you missed the salat. You missed it in its designated time. You're supposed to pray Asr between the Adhan of Asr and before the Adhan of Maghrib. All that's time for Asr. You prayed Asr after the Adhan for Maghrib. That means I missed Asr. That doesn't mean I don't have to pray Asr. You still got to pray the one you missed. Meaning, I woke up for Fajr, I overslept Fajr. I woke up, it was 8 o'clock in the morning. Did I miss Fajr? I missed the time for Fajr. So what I do, just get dressed and leave the house and don't pray Fajr? No, you still got to pray Fajr. Fajr don't just drop on because I overslept. You have to get up. And immediately, that's the first thing on my agenda is to pray Fajr. It should be urgent. I wake up and the sun is up, it's sunny, I miss Fajr. That should be the first thing I go do. It's not that once I miss a prayer, it just drops off my obligation. No, it's still obligatory. Every day, there's 5 prayers obligatory every day. They don't just drop off. Tayyib, he says, yaqdi, the people who have to make up prayers are the people, it says, menzala aqluhu binomen. Whoever zala aqluhu, let's just say the person that was asleep. And I'll get to the other part later because there's another part coming. There's a difference, y'all, between being unconscious and not having your sanity. Everybody with me? A person that's not conscious is not necessarily, as we say, insane. You just don't have consciousness right now. A person asleep is not like the person who doesn't have their actual sanity. Everybody with me? Is that clear? The sleeping person, you're not going to say this person is crazy because they're asleep. They're not the same, all right? The person who doesn't have consciousness due to sleep. You was asleep, you overslept a prayer, you still have to make the prayer up. Yaqdi, make the prayer up. All right? Or the person who passed out, they fainted. The person who faints, they faint. Let's just say, for example, Dhuhr or the adhan for Asr is at 5:10. The adhan for Asr is at 5:10. A person has to make Dhuhr. They didn't pray Dhuhr yet. It's hot. They go to pray Dhuhr. They praying it late, right? Not late, meaning that it's almost time for Asr. So they about to pray Dhuhr and it's 5 o'clock. So they running late on Dhuhr, right? It's about to be Asr. They pass out. They faint due to the heat. They wake up, it's 5:30. Did they pray Dhuhr? Do they still have to make the Dhuhr they missed? They still got to make it, even though they fainted. They faint, they wake up, they have to pray the Dhuhr. Everybody with me? Hold on. The insane person. We ain't get there, Sheikh. We ain't get there yet. We're going to get to the insane person. We're going to get there. Tayyib. Or the person also has to make up the prayer. The person who lost their consciousness, they passed out due to being drunk. They were drunk and they fainted and passed out. They slept all day. Muslim ain't supposed to be drinking anyway. We're not even talking about that. We're not even on that issue about the intoxicants being haram. We're not even talking about. We're talking about the issue of the prayer. A person was drunk and they passed out at 11 o'clock in the morning and they woke up at Maghrib. They missed what? Dhuhr and Asr. Probably Fajr, but let's just say for sure they missed Dhuhr and Asr, right? They still have to make up Dhuhr and Asr. They don't just drop off. Everybody clear? That was the third one. Or he says, when nahwi, or if a person, they just slept all day because of, not laziness. If they would sleep all day because of laziness, they would sleep. They would sleep. What else would put you to sleep all day, maybe? Medicine. Person took medicine, the medicine put them down all day. When they wake up, they still got to make up the prayers they miss. Meaning, if I'm asleep, it's not necessarily a sin that you oversleep. I'm not intending to oversleep. If you intend to oversleep, that's one thing. I go to sleep, I'm tired, been working all day, I wake, I miss the salat, I wake up, I miss the salat. I got to make the salat. That's my first thing. I got to make the salat that I missed. Tayyib? Everybody clear? Those are the people who have to make up the prayer. He says, وَلَا تَصِحْ. The salat is not even valid from the next couple people. Meaning if these next couple people prayed, their prayer is not even valid. Not the people we just spoke about. Not the person that was asleep. Not the person that fainted. Not the person that was drinking, right? And they lost consciousness, then they woke up. Not the person that took the medicine. All of those people, they wake up, they got to pray. They got to make the prayer up. The next two people, even if they prayed, it's not valid. Everybody ready? Tayyib. He says, وَلَا تَصِحُّ مِن مَجْنُونٍ. The person that's insane. They don't have their sanity, right? And the second person, لَا تَصِحْ مِن kafir. The one who's not a Muslim, a disbeliever. Why? Why is the, Good. The one who's not Muslim, they haven't accepted shahada, which means that affects what for their prayer? The intention, jayyid. They don't have no shahada, so what intention are they going to make for the prayer? Right? And the person that's lost their sanity, Same thing. They say la yaqil. They don't even know how to form a correct intention for a prayer. Everybody clear? Both of them. It comes to they're losing the thing of the proper intention for the prayer. Everybody clear? Who is that? Two people. Who are the two people that the salat is not even valid from them? The Majnun, the one who lost their sanity, and the disbeliever. Both of them, neither one of them have the proper intention. And the intention is a condition for the salat. Yes, sir. Say something.
The same person, when he gets his sanity back.
In
other words, he's telling us it comes and goes.
Right.
So the person, when he gets his sanity back,
then that's different. If a person don't have sanity, that's one thing. If they come back to their regular state of mind, right, that's different.
What kind of sanity you talking about? Like somebody who just be going, or somebody who just can't comprehend all the time.
Let's say this. He said, what type of sanity are we talking about? Who are the people who makes the ruling on if a person doesn't have it all or not, if we say that? Doctors. A person has been diagnosed with such and such. They might be on medications. They got to get, right? They've been classified as such and such. Not the people that we be looking like, yo, my man, shout out, look at him. Not them. A person could be acting. It could be doing anything. We're not talking about people that we label crazy. We use that word loosely. It's a medical doctor thing. A doctor has been made, okay, this person has been classified with such and such. You with me? Whatever it may be. They might have meds for it, and they don't. Everything else piles that type of insanity. Not the type of insanity that we be using, that we use kind of like, almost like a slang. Not that one. So yeah. He says here, the two people, the one that lost their sanity, the salat from him is not valid because they don't have intention. And the disbeliever, if they prayed, the disbeliever prayed, the salat is not valid based on the intention. He says here, for in salla for Muslim and hukman. Listen to this, y'all. He says, if the kafir, if the disbeliever prays, right? Let's just say you know somebody, they're not a Muslim. We all know people that ain't Muslim. Somebody you know right now, brother or sister, they walk in this right now. They walk in here right now, pray 2 rak'ah and sit down. Everybody with me? Y'all looking at the door. Don't worry about the door. You're going to miss it. Listen, these issues, one thing, you're going to miss it. A person you know that's not Muslim walks in right now, prays 2 rak'ah, they sit down with us, and then they die. They die right here in front of us. Allah protect us. I mean, that person, what did we see from them? Islam. What did we know about them yesterday? What did we know about them earlier after Dhuhr? They wasn't Muslim. They come in here, they pray 2 rak'ah, salam out, and they die. The hukum to us living, that's a Muslim, which means we're going to give them janazah and treat them like a Muslim. When they meet Allah, if they were just joking, they didn't want to come in here and look funny, they didn't want to just come in and sit down, that's between them and Allah. Everybody clear? He says, for in salah, for Muslim hukman, the hukum that we're going to give the person that comes in here and does what's a woman, a man or a woman, we're going to treat them like a Muslim based on what we saw. Everybody clear? They say the same thing, it's not here, but in the explanation it says the same thing. It says the same would apply if a non-Muslim came in here and called the adhan and then died. Let me ask you this. Are there any non-Muslims that know the adhan? There's plenty of non-Muslims that know the adhan. A non-Muslim comes and they call the adhan and then they die after calling the adhan. How do we treat the person? As a Muslim, hukman. Based on what I saw, he called the adhan, pronounced the shahada in the adhan. We treat him as a Muslim.
You're saying based on what we saw, what if all of us knew that person wasn't a Muslim, still she was treated?
You knew when? Before he prayed?
I'm just saying, like you said, how you started the story was we all knew people that's not Muslim.
Shah.
What if it's a person that we all know that's not a Muslim and he come in here and do that? We still bury him as a Muslim.
Yes, that's the whole point. The whole point is we're basing off what we see from him. We're not basing off what we knew yesterday. I knew him all my life, but he came here and prayed 2 rak'ah and then he salammed out and fell over and died. What I'm gonna say? Nah, man, he ain't Muslim. He just came in and prayed 2 rak'ah. Who prays 2 rak'ah? Muslims. We treat them on what we see, based on the zahir. That's it. He has to meet Allah. She has to meet Allah. Whatever her intention or his intention was when they prayed, they have to meet Allah with that. Us, if we had to make a decision, we're gonna say that person was a Muslim, even if their family came and took their body. We're still gonna pray what? The absentee prayer. We're gonna treat him like a Muslim. طيب. طيب. He says, وَيُؤْمَرُ بِهَا صَغِيرًا لِسَبٍ وَيُضْرَبْ عَلَيْهَا لِعَشْرٍ. The next issue, the issue we were speaking about, he says the children are to be commanded to pray at the age of 7 through the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, it says, مَرُّ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. He commanded the parents, the command is to the parents, not to the children to pray at 7. To the parents, the command in the hadith is to the parents to command your children to pray when they turn 7. That's on the parents. It's not on the child. It doesn't mean at 7 it's obligatory on the child. It means at 7 it's obligatory on the parents to tell the child to pray. Everybody clear? Everybody clear? طيب. ويضرب عليها لعشر. Into, I use the word beat, hit, strike the child at 10 if they don't pray. Now, that beating, that strike, that hit, in both cases, not just here, and in the case in the Quran where it says beat them lightly, it's not a hit on your wife or on your child that's supposed to hurt them. It's not supposed to hurt them. Especially when you talk about the ayat about your wives, brothers. It is not a green light to beat your wife. That tap, as was explained to us by numerous ulama, is like doing this with a siwak. The joints you clean your teeth with is like doing this. Pray. Let alone raise your man hand and ball it up and come on. That's an argument against us. If people argue against Islam with that, y'all could beat y'all women. We need to know, what does that mean? What is the explanation of the verse? What does it look like? Y'all beat your children if they don't pray? That's the explanation of it. Every explanation you read about that verse or about this hadith is going to say that it's not to be a harmful hit. Then what is the hit for at 10 years old? To show them how important it is. You got to pray. That's not something light. This is a pillar. This is a pillar of Islam. Tayyib. Y'all ready? Tayyib. It's not obligatory on a child to pray until when? Till they reach puberty, right? Now we got to know the signs of puberty. What are the signs of puberty? How many signs are there for puberty? How many signs are there for puberty? It's a number question. How many? Not what are they, just how many signs are there for puberty? I didn't say for female. Sisters, y'all want to help the brothers? They over here tripping. How many signs are there for puberty in Islam? So that's 4, 3, 2. The early math different. We had 2, 3, and 4. That's where we at so far. 5. One of the sisters said 5. You ain't gotta look like that because the sister said 5, man. Huh? How many we at, y'all? 5, 4. 4 signs of puberty. One of the 4 is specific for a female. 4 signs that a person reached the age of puberty. One of those 4 signs is specific for a female, which is what? The mints. What are the other signs of puberty? Nocturnal emission, which is a wet dream. A person goes to sleep and they ejaculate while they're asleep. If they do that, that means they reached the age of puberty. Everybody get it? Clear? The other sign. Not a mustache. Pubic hair, the growing of the pubic hair. And what's the last one? Huh? The age of 15. If none of those things happen, the first three don't happen, whether it's a boy or girl, by the time they reach the age of 15, khalas, they reach the age of puberty. You don't just go, they 19, you talking about she never had a men's yet. Well, he never had no pubic hairs, never had, no. By the age of 15, if none of those other signs happen, they're considered to be baligh. They reach the age of puberty. Everybody clear? Tayyib, you know how on your birth certificate, it'll say the date you were born, the hospital, and the time of the day. Right? Do the birth certificate say that? I don't think the birth certificate say that. That might have been the Saudi. No. Yeah. Oh, hold up. That's probably the old. The older Jones might say the time on it. The new John, your John say, you don't say the time on it? It used to. Maybe they don't do it no more. All right, thank you. They used to do. Yeah. All right, cool. And then maybe not on the birth certificate, but it's a paper they give and they tell you what time the person was born. Cool. The next issue, that's important for the next issue, is a child, and it's not obligatory on them to pray, right? It says, فَإِن بَلَغَ فِي أَثْنَائِهَا أَوْ بَعْدَهَا فِي وَقْتِهَا أَعَادَ. A child prayed dhuhr. Let's just say, what's the day? They was born on July 3rd at 1:15 in the afternoon, right? They 14. They didn't have any of the other three signs of puberty. That means when they turn 15, what? That means they reach the age of puberty. And if they turn 15, they reach the age of puberty, the salat is obligatory. Tayyib. They were born at 1:15, July 3rd, whatever year it was. Today, they're praying dhuhr. They start praying dhuhr at 1:10, right? At 1:10. They 14 at 1:10. They turn 15 when? At 1:15. You with me? If they're praying dhuhr, they start praying dhuhr at 1:10. And by 1:15, they're still praying dhuhr. And they finish dhuhr at 1:17 or 1:20. That child has to pray dhuhr again. Why? Yeah, when it was 14, it wasn't obligatory on them. So all of the prayers before puberty are recommended prayers. He started praying dhuhr and it was recommended. While he's praying a recommended prayer for him or her, he or she turns 15. That prayer now is not recommended anymore. He started the prayer with the intention to pray a recommended prayer. Now when it becomes obligatory, he got to pray, or she has to pray over with the intention of praying dhuhr. Is that clear? Fadla.
Based upon the calendar, based upon the Hijri calendar, or the calendar we follow?
Jayid. Everything we do is based on the Hijri calendar, the Muslim calendar. And you can, that ain't difficult, y'all. It's not difficult. You can look it up on the internet. You can find your birthday on the Muslim calendar. All of that could be found. It's not difficult. Huh? It's on the prayer account. Do it on your phone. They got websites that'll tell you. You type in your birthday and it'll transfer it to the Muslim year and the Muslim month with the day of the month. It's not difficult at all to find that out. Easy. I was born in Ramadan, the first week of Ramadan, 1400. Yeah, it's going to change your age. Yeah, it's going to change your age. If you 30 and up or 35 and up, you probably a year and a half older than you think you are. At least 2. Then it's going to be 2 years. Alhamdulillah. Tayyib. That's the first thing. A person got to read. They have to re-pray. They have to pray again. If they reach the age of puberty while they were praying, or same situation, but their time of birth wasn't 1:15. Their time of birth was 2:30. 2:30. Same situation, but they wasn't born at 1:15. They were born at 2:30, meaning they prayed the whole dhuhr, right? And they still are 14 years old, right? But at 2:30, is that still the time of dhuhr or is it asr now? It's still dhuhr. Right now. Right now, you're right. It depends. Right now, that still would be dhuhr, right? Huh? Asr not till 5 now. So at 2:30, they turn 15. If it's still the time of Dhuhr and they turn 15, now they reach the age of puberty, they still have to pray again. Why? All of that goes back to when they initially started the prayer, it wasn't obligatory on them. So all of the prayers for children, before puberty are considered to be voluntary recommended prayers. They're voluntary prayers, not obligatory prayers. When it becomes obligatory, the voluntary cannot replace the obligatory, so they got to pray over.
He turned 15 that day, so Fajr is still cool.
Fajr is cool. He was 14 at Fajr. Yeah, he's cool. Yes. Of course. He had to listen. He said, does he have to make wudu? Oh, man. We're going to get there. Yes, Shay. What's considered pubic hair? They call it the coarse hair that grows around the private area. Not the... I'm saying not the what? Not the little, we used to call it peach fuzz. That's old school. Not the fuzz. For real, all humans have this little haze of hair on them. You know what I'm saying? It's little, we used to call it peach fuzz, little fuzzy. Not that. The hair that starts to grow out. You can start seeing the color, right? Because the other hair might actually blend with your skin. But when the hair starts to grow around your private area, a color starts to come with it, right? And it's a little rougher. If you go against the grain, you can feel it. You can feel the roughness of the hair compared to the peach fuzz that might blend with the skin. Is that clear? Inshallah. I'm only going with, listen, again. The author, this will be clear, the author is human. He doesn't include everything in the book, which is important because if you go to another book, they might mention something. Because it's not here doesn't mean it's not right. All right, because it's not here doesn't mean it's not right. And because it's here doesn't mean it's 100% right. There's only one book that's free from mistakes, the Quran. Tayyib. Tayyib. The next issue is what we talk about a lot. We say they pray too late, or we say they delay the salat. They delay the salat, ta'khir as-salat an waqtiha. What does it mean to delay a salat? If you delayed the salat, what does that mean? You did what? You prayed it late intentionally. Okay. You prayed the salat outside of its time. That's late. Everything between the adhan of dhuhr until the adhan of asr is dhuhr. All of that's dhuhr. We have a problem, us. Our understanding is if you don't pray dhuhr 10 minutes after the adhan, you delaying the salat. So some of us are bold enough to walk into a person's masjid, and to us, you supposed to pray by 1:30, you ain't pray? Why they praying at 2 o'clock? This is us. They gonna pray at 2 o'clock? That's late. Why they praying so late? We describe it as late. Are they still praying dhuhr in this time if they pray at 2 o'clock right now? They got until 5 o'clock to pray dhuhr. You used to them praying at 1:15. Since the adhan is 1:15, you got to pray 10 minutes after. It's nothing written in stone that says that. Okay? Is that what most people do? That's what most people do. But if they pray at 2 o'clock, you don't know what the situation is in that community. Maybe it's a community of people, they all work, they all have established time. We're going to pray dhuhr at this time because that's what works for the community. We want to walk into a person's masjid, man, they pray too late. Let's just pray. Call it adhan, call it iqamah. We're going to get to that. Is that salat even valid when you do that? We're going to get to that. Is it even valid for a person to walk into a masjid that has a designated mu'adhin, a designated imam, and you walk in and you override the mu'adhin and the imam, you call the adhan, you call the iqamah, you lead the prayer, and it's a designated imam. Is that prayer valid? And the people praying behind you, what about their prayer? We get to that later, inshallah. Tayyib. Ta'khir al-salat is praying outside of the time for the prayer. Not just because they prayed at a half hour, then we would usually pray it. If that's the case, tayyib, khalas. He says, number 1, and he uses the word which is on our paper, number 3. He uses the word number 3 on our paper. Yahrum. Yahrum. Which means yahrum ta'khiru an waqtiha. Ta'khiruha an waqtiha. It is haram to delay the prayer outside of its time. Everybody clear? In case we don't know the times, you have from the adhan to the next adhan. That's the time. Once they call the next adhan for the next prayer, you missed it. That does not mean you should wait all the way until right before the adhan. It's just saying that's the time. Haram. What does haram mean? Something that Allah, His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has totally forbidden. No option. There's no time. Right? The person who stays away from doing the haram, right? Out of obeying Allah, obedience to Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's a reward for staying away from the haram. It's a reward for that. The person who does the haram, the impermissible, right? Number 1, it's a sin. And number 2, the person who does the haram deserves to be punished by Allah Jalla wa Ala. That's what haram means. That's what it equals as Muslims. So now he says haram to delay the salat out of its time. Dhuhr has a specific time frame. It's not up to us to be like, you know what, man, I'm gonna just pray Dhuhr later. I don't have that option. Every salat has a specific time. To delay it outside of its time is haram. It's a sin, and the person deserves to be punished by Allah Jalla wa Ala. It's 2 people who get the exception of not praying the salat in its proper time. 2 people, it's 2 categories, I say. They get the exception of not praying salat, as we say, on time, meaning you pray it outside of its time. Who's the first person? The traveler. And we'll get to how the traveler prays later. That's a whole section of how the traveler prays, right? The traveler has the option for certain prayers to delay them. Meaning, if I'm a traveler and it's time for Dhuhr, and I am a traveler, just to be clear, I'm in Cali. I'm in California. We in Philadelphia. I travel to California, right? I'm traveling. It's time for Dhuhr. Dhuhr has a time. Since I'm a traveler, I cannot pray Dhuhr at the time of Dhuhr. I can wait till Asr, and I can pray Dhuhr and Asr at the time of Asr. I can do that. Why? Because I'm a traveler. All right? We get to the details later. That's the first person, the traveler. The second person, he says, وَلِمُشْتَغَلٍ بِشَرْطِهَا الَّذِي يُحَصِّلُهُ قَرِيبًا. The person who we know before we pray we have to make wudu, right? In order to make wudu, what do I need? Water. It's time to pray. I can't find any water. But I know it's water out here. I'm looking for it. I just can't find where I put the water. I know it's water here. I'm trying to find the water. Let's just say the salat is about to go out. Everybody with me? Salat is about, the time for Dhuhr is about to end. It's 5. It's this Asr, for example, y'all. Salat al-Asr, the adhan for Asr is at 5 o'clock. It's 4:56. I need to be praying, so I pray Dhuhr, right? I'm still looking for water. It says, what do I need water for, number 1? For wudu. Wudu is a condition for the prayer to be, right? I can't pray without wudu. So since wudu is a condition, and I'm trying to complete a condition, what he's saying is, if I didn't find the water, what time is Asr? If I didn't find the water until 5:02, right? That person has a valid excuse. That's what it means. Again, it's conditions for the prayer. In order for my prayer to be valid, one condition is that I have to make wudu before I pray. In order for wudu, I need water. I pull over, I'm looking for the water. I can't find, no, I bought a whole pack of water. I got water and I'm looking for the water. The adhan for Asr is at 5 o'clock. I got to pray Dhuhr. It's 4:56. I'm looking for the water. Why am I looking for the water? Because I need water to fulfill the condition of wudu so I can pray. Not I'm looking for water because I'm thirsty. That's different. I'm looking for water to fulfill the condition of purification to pray. Therefore, if I didn't find the water until 5:02, did I miss the time for Dhuhr? Yes. The time for Dhuhr went out at 5 o'clock. Do I have a valid excuse based on what the author is saying? Yes, I have a valid excuse. Why? I'm looking for water so that I can fulfill the proper condition of prayer, which is making wudu. This is only half the page, y'all. We did half of a page so far. It's 52 pages like this. Fadl.
Does the same go for needing the ghusl?
What you mean?
A person needs the ghusl, but they don't have time to make the ghusl for the salat.
Okay.
Does that same hukum apply to that person?
Good. What's important in this situation, y'all, this situation, is that he says you're going to, whatever you do that you're looking for, you're trying to complete the condition for the prayer, that you're going to be able to do it very close to the adhan that just went off. So if you're not going to finish till 5:45, that's not close to the adhan. You're not going to apply this if you're not going to be able to do it close to the adhan. Everybody with me? You with me? This only applies if you can get it done close to the adhan. If you can get it done close to the adhan, this is how you're going to do it. If you know, for example, I know where the water, I left it at the, what's the name on it? You got to drive back to get the water. That's 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. Then you're going to pray. No, it don't apply. Everybody clear? This only applies if you can fulfill the condition close to the adhan that just went off at 5 o'clock, 5:02, 5:03, right? I can get it done and pray. If I know, I left the water at the masjid, I got to go back to the masjid. I left it on the back step of the masjid. Masjid on, then to us, the masjid 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes up, 10 minutes back, traffic, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Don't apply this. All right? Close to the adhan. Nothing specified, but close. He didn't mention the the next issue is the one. What time is Maghrib? 8:33? 8:38? Okay. 8:33 or 8:38? 8:33? Allahu Akbar. 33? Tayyib. This is a good ending spot. Tayyib. Hukmu tarik as-salat. Hukmu tarik as-salat. The ruling on the one who, as it usually says, is translated, the one who abandons the prayer. The one who doesn't pray, they don't make salat. The Muslim who's not praying. Not the sisters, not y'all saying I'm not praying right now. Not that not praying. The Muslim, they're not, as we in our language, they're not on their deen, so they don't be praying like that. Man or woman. Everybody ready? He says here, number one, and this is super serious, y'all. He says, وَمَنْ جَهَدَ وُجُوبَهَا كَفَرَ. Whoever denies that praying the 5 daily prayers is obligatory has disbelieved. The one who denies that the 5 daily prayers are obligatory, they've disbelieved. This is kufr. All right? That's number one. And as some of the ulama say, a person could be, listen to this, a person could be praying with the belief that it's not obligatory. Right? That don't mean they're not going to pray. A person who denies, they deny that the 5 daily prayers are obligatory, this is kufr, a type of disbelief. Be careful that we don't start taking these words, especially when it comes to disbelief, and start testing people. This is the stuff that we about to cover right here. It goes down in the Islamic court. They're judges, Islamic court systems with judges that will have a whole due process when it comes to stuff like this. Not us, randoms, that we heard a book today and now we want to start testing people if they kuffar or not. That's number one. The person who denies And even with that is detailed, because it could be, who might possibly say that the 5 daily prayers are not obligatory? What'd you say? No. A new shahada. It's a new Muslim. They might not know that all 5 are obligatory. So it's not that we just going to walk around and start pointing people out, yo, five daily prayers obligatory or no? That's kufr. No. Huh? You might ask, how about that? You ask a person that ain't even obligatory on them.
I mean, you might ask a child.
No doubt. طيب. So even that has detail. He says after that, وَكَذَا تَارِكُهَا تَهَاوُنًا. He says also, and this is the dangerous part, the one who doesn't pray just out of laziness. They believe it's obligatory. They just ain't praying out of laziness. Right? He says, kafara. This person has disbelieved. And this is the issue that the scholars of Islam, they differ on. And this whole book's written just on this issue right here. If a person doesn't pray, are they still Muslim or not? The whole books are written on this. So what's the safest thing for us to do? What? Pray. Don't put yourself in the gray area where you got to be worried about, but some of the sound. No. We Muslim. It's a pillar. We're not dependent on scholars different if we're going to pray or not. Even if that was the case, it's not our call on a person not praying. Like a brother told me, a brother died. Allah yarhamuhu. And the brother came to me in masjid and said, man, such and such janazah coming up. I'm trying to see if I'm going to pray over him. That's what he said. I'm like, yo, why wouldn't you pray over him? Why wouldn't you pray over your brother who died? And this is the sickness that's been passed around in our city. He don't be coming around like that. That was his response. That's the sickness that's part of our city now that's been passed around. And a lot of us don't even see it to be a problem. But this how far it goes. I say to the brother, he stopped coming where? Here? I ain't gonna tell you the masjid I was in. Here, he stopped coming here. He said, yeah, he don't be coming around like that no more, Sheikh. I said, Akhi, he could be praying in the house. He could be praying in the house. He could be praying in the house at work. You know what he said? He hit me with this joint, y'all. Like I'm reaching. We in the masjid. He dead serious. I'm not even joking. He's serious. He's serious. He's not going to pray janazah for a Muslim that died based on him not seeing that brother. He has to see him pray. I haven't been seeing him around. I'm trying to see if I'm going to pray over him. I don't know. He don't be coming around like that. So you're not going to pray over him. Right? It's dangerous. You trying to say he's not Muslim? So since you didn't see him pray, he's not a Muslim, she's not a Muslim, since you didn't see him pray? See how dangerous it is? Because they don't come in front of me. You got to come in front of me. I got to see you pray. Allah protect us, man, and revive our hearts with love for the believers. Tayyib. It says the one who doesn't pray out of negligence or laziness, this is a type of disbelief. Tayyib. What happens when a person doesn't pray in the land of the Muslims, the court system? And now he mentions the due process that happens. Because it's not like you can just walk them and say, such and such don't pray, because it's a penalty. A person who was a Muslim stops praying and the ruling comes down in the court that they left Islam based on them not praying. There's a punishment. That's apostasy. They left the deen. It's a punishment in the Islamic court system for that. You think any random person gonna walk into a court system in a Muslim country and say, yo, brother such and such or sister such and such, she stopped praying, and they're gonna just apply the punishment because of your word? Because if a person's not Muslim, if we make that ruling that they're not Muslim, that means if they die, then what? No janazah. We're not wrapping them. We're not shrouding them. We're not praying over them. Right? Their inheritance, their family can't inherit from them. It's a whole lot of things connected to that. If that happens, if that was to happen, he says, Da'a imam o na'ibuhu, that the ruler of the country will summon the person. They would have to come to court. Right? It says, if the person continued not to pray, after they've been brought to court, they spoke to him and all that, and then the time, and at the time, for example, They summoned at Dhuhr. They still didn't pray. Then came for Asr. They still didn't pray, and now it's almost Maghrib. That means 2 prayers are going out, and the person is still continuing not to pray. At this point, they've delayed the prayer in this situation, and now the ruler or the judge is going to make a ruling on that person. Is that person still Muslim or not? Tayyib. And the last thing it says, what's the head? What's the punishment? It says, وَلَا يُقْتَلُ حَتَّى يُسْتَتَابَ ثَلَاثًا فِيهِمَا. That person is not sentenced to death until they are called to make tawbah, to repent for not praying. 3 days. They're going to keep going back 3 days. This is a court system, y'all. We don't have no authority like that. But what we do is, like the brother came to me, we just not going to pray over each other. Based on what? Not that we made any type of solid that the person doesn't pray, because I haven't seen you pray. I said, Akhi, he could be praying in the house. You don't think he prayed in the house? He did all that. You know, he couldn't have prayed at work. He gave me all that. I said, you tripping, man. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. That's not your job. Your job is, our job is that we rule on what's apparent. If a person that we didn't know was a Muslim walked in here right now and prayed 2 rak'ah and died, we're gonna pray over them. How a brother or sister you know been praying all this time, you haven't seen him in the past 6 months. So since you haven't seen him in the past 6 months, pray at the masjid, you praying, they not Muslim no more. It's dangerous. That's dangerous. And I pray that Allah forgives us and protects us from being hasty and rushing to judge people, especially in things as sensitive as Iman and Kufr, belief and disbelief. And I think it's good to stop there, because the next section is a section of the adhan and the iqama. The adhan and the iqama. And if there's any questions connected to this, inshallah, first, if there's any questions connected to this.
For delaying the salat, say somebody would pray like 4:58 and like the next prayer comes in at 5. And they midway prayer, that is gone. Is the prayer still valid?
If somebody prayed at 4:58 and the adhan is at 5, they prayed Dhuhr at 4:58, the adhan of Asr is at 5 o'clock. Number one, they shouldn't have did that. And that issue is going to come in the time of the prayers when we go through the different times of the salat, right? But for a short answer, if they made the takbir, Allahu Akbar, in the time of Dhuhr, then the salat is Dhuhr, as long as it was before the adhan of Asr. So they said for Dhuhr, they said Allahu Akbar at 4:58. While they're praying, the adhan for Asr goes off, right? They still pray Dhuhr in its time, but that doesn't mean they were supposed to do it like that. What that means is they don't have to pray Dhuhr over, or they're not making Dhuhr, they're not making up Dhuhr. That makes sense? They pray Dhuhr in its time, even though they wasn't supposed to delay it like that. They wasn't supposed to delay it to the end of the time of Dhuhr. It doesn't have to be complete. And that's going to come, that issue is going to come up. Yes.
Is this logic or is it mandu?
At the earliest, what's the verse? Pull a verse up. I'm only saying pull a verse up because just so we know, when you read the Noble, just so everybody's clear, when you read the Noble Quran in English, right? Everything in the parentheses is the tafsir. It's not the translation of the ayat. What you find in the brackets and the parentheses in the Noble Quran, that's from the tafsir of Ibn Kathir. That's not the actual translation of the verse. That's to help understanding the verse. You with me? The translation was outside of the parentheses and outside the brackets. What's inside of the parentheses, inside the brackets, is going to help us understand what we read. So I want to look at the verse so I can make sure that while you're finding it, Zad al-Mustaqni'. Zad al-Mustaqni'. The only part that I found in the bookstores now is the section on wudu and ghusl. If you can find the older one, it's thick. It's a big one. That has the Kitab al-Salat in it. Zad al-Mustaqni'. The author. The one you're going to find, I'm glad you said that. The one that's in the bookstore is going to have Sheikh Saleh Fawzan's name on it, which is actually not the book. That's actually the explanation of the book, but that's fine because it has the book in it. I don't know if it's going to have an author's name on it, which is Abu Musa Hajjawi. His name might not be on the front of the book, but he's the actual author. I'm sorry, Abu Najah Musa Hajjawi. I'm sorry, fuck me.
Do you know if they apply that same ruling as far as the example we gave at the time, right?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm with you.
Do they apply that same ruling to a person fasting on Ramadan?
Which one? Which
Meaning
rule?
that they was born at, let's just say, 10 a.m. So they start fasting, and when they start fasting, it's a voluntary fasting. It's not watching.
Right.
10 o'clock comes, negative 15. Now Ramadan is obligatory. They have to make that day up.
Allah. Allah. Off the record, I think so. But Allah. That's off the record, though. Yes.
Say someone unintentionally like slept to Lord only to eat that. Do you still make the prayer in order?
Somebody unintentionally slept from Dhuhr, they woke up, it was Isha.
Yeah.
Mm.
You still make all prayers in order, like Lord, also Maghrib, Isha.
You should, yeah. You should make the prayers up in order, being as though Isha is already in. That means you have time. There's no prayer coming in right after Isha. So you have time to make up all the salats in order so that you can protect or preserve the order of the salat. You found it?
Sorry, Al-Bukhari 527.
What does it say?
Saying, Abdullah asked the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam which deed is the dearest to Allah. He replied to pray, to offer the prayers at their earliest stage of each time.
Jade, but you said it was an ayat.
No.
So you see what I'm saying? That's a hadith. Now, you said it was a verse. What the verse say? What does it say?
It just says before the prayers and appointed time. It don't say like earliest than that. The appointed time.
Let me say. Yeah, the verse doesn't say earliest. Appointed. In the salat kanat al-mu'minin kitab makutan. Right? The salat, what is it saying? Indeed, performing prayers is a duty on the believers at the appointed times. And there's other hadith about the times of the prayer. Time from there to this, from this prayer to this prayer. Now, is it better to pray earlier? Yeah. Based on hadith, we're going to say it's better to pray earlier. But does that mean if I don't pray at the time that we consider to be early, that I pray late? Not necessarily. I haven't delayed it outside of its time.
Don't get on me, but you brought it up.
What?
You said that, okay, Muslims not supposed to drink, right? Okay, but you say the person's drunk, they pass out, right? This person's drunk, right? What if they don't pass out? But they're still drunk, it's a lot, man.
Saajid?
Because isn't there an ayah that came down where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about not approaching the prayer in an intoxicated state? So you know what you're saying?
Yeah.
So that person, like, that same thing falls on them, right? They have to make their prayer. You see what I'm saying? They have to make the prayers up, or because they was intoxicated, is that different? You see what I mean? Because the prayer might be in and they intoxicated, but they don't come around.
What does the ayah say?
I don't.
No, just whatever. I know. I just refresh me.
All right.
Don't come to the prayer.
In the time of the Sahabas, Allah revealed that ayah telling them to not come to the prayer while they're in a state of intoxication, you know, until you know what it is.
Until you know what you're saying. Leave it just like that. Leave it just like that. That doesn't mean they're not going to have to make them no prayers.
No, that's all. That's what I'm saying.
Regardless, there's no prayers don't drop off. Every day that we live our lives as Muslims, we have 5 obligatory prayers. They don't drop off. They never drop off, y'all. There's never a day we only got 4 prayers, unless we traveling and we've combined it. And that means we made Fajr by itself. We combined Dhuhr and Asr at one time, but we still made 2 prayers. Then we combined Maghrib and Isha. We still made 5. There is no time, no day. We just living our lives, and one day we got 4 prayers. If I wake up tomorrow and I remember Saturday I didn't pray Dhuhr, I'm sure Saturday I didn't pray Dhuhr. Guess what? I owe Dhuhr from Saturday. It never drops off. And if I never remember, but what if you never remember? Then you never remember. That's gonna be the next question. What if I never remember? What if I miss a salat, but I never remember? Right? If I remember, I'm sure Saturday, I remember we was in the office, we was talking, I made wudu, but I never prayed dhuhr. I got to make up dhuhr from Saturday.
What he kind of bringing up is like an issue of whether it would be accepted or not.
Yeah, we ain't getting into that. Yeah, we ain't getting into that.
You know, I wouldn't say
Yeah. That's a whole, that's a whole
because
issue.
you're saying you gotta pray, now whether it's accepted or not.
Whether accepted is a different issue. Some people think that if you get drunk,
no matter what state you in,
yeah, you're going to have to pray. Whether it's accepted, that's a different case. Khalas. Hopefully, inshallah, we're going to stop there. Inshallah, next week we do the bab of the adhan wal iqama. And hopefully, we're going to have some workshops so that brothers can know how to call the adhan and call the iqama, so that we can learn the wording of the adhan and the iqama, how to call the adhan, how to call the iqama. Y'all know how we do it. Be time for the adhan and the iqama. Everybody be looking around, trying to find out who's going to call it. You got it out. Everybody got it except you. Everybody can call it except you. We don't want to keep being like that. How are we going to teach our kids, right, our boys, how to call the adhan and the iqama? So hopefully once we go through the chapter, inshallah, we'll be able to have some workshop. We can learn the words of the adhan and the iqama and how to call the adhan and the iqama, inshallah. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.
I don't see nobody moving for that microphone.
Ain't nobody jumping for that mic, yo.